Hey there, friends. How are you? So real quick, I wanted to take some time to kind of document 10 ideas or what I'm calling 10 money moves that you can make. These are, you could think of these as things that you would do earlier in your life if you're in your 20s or 30s. I believe they also make sense if you're later in life, but as we go through them, you will see how if you would have done these things, in your 20s, they would have had a much larger impact. But I think it's important to talk about money. I don't think we talk about money enough. Out there, I actually read an article earlier today that it's easier to talk about sex than money, which I thought was interesting. So I thought we would talk about money in this video, and I created a quick presentation to sort of capture my thoughts and share them with you. So here we go. So here are 10 money moves to leverage on your path to financial freedom. So first one, this is definitely a Gary Vee saying, stop being fancy, right? A lot of us have gotten very fancy lifestyles, nice new cars and clothes and accessories and all of that stuff. I just call it living below your means. Just that sacrifice, reduce expenses. I would tell you one of the biggest successes we had is, again, starting on my 30th birthday, so nearly 2 decades ago, was targeting lowering our monthly expenses by 10% and then 20% and ultimately getting it down to 50% over several years. And for me, it really does come down to getting better at answering this question. What is a need versus a want? I believe a lot of us, and look at your checkbook, look at your credit card, I think a lot of things on there are wants. If you really want to go after this financial freedom thing and a better financial future, you need to make some short-term sacrifices, right? Cover your needs, always cover your needs, cover your family's needs. But let's at least have honest conversation about wants, and maybe there's a better way to go. Something I would think, if you're starting your career and you have the choice, I recommend high leverage. For me, that meant commission sales. So simply speaking, in sales, you can have what's called a 60-40 or a 50-50 split, which means, example, if your on target earnings is 200K, your base would be 100, then your commission to a quota would be another 100. But here's the deal. When you have jobs like that and you crush your number, there are things called accelerators, and they are awesome when they happen. I have known many, many, many sales professionals to make 7 figures a year because they crush their quota. And if you're starting out early in life looking for what to do and trying to find a path to financial freedom, I suggest that getting into a commission-based program and working your way up and just busting your tail and going after it is a great way to go, as long as you don't get fancy. Right? I have known many, many, many sales professionals to have 7-figure years and get fancy. And that destroys them, because what was once a 7-figure year can be a $100,000 year, and your fancy lifestyle will take you to bankruptcy. So these 2 points are important to go together. Go get a commission job, crush it, save all the commission money, put it away, live on your base, and good things will happen. Something I did several times in my adult life was got a second job. Whether it was just working the evenings, when I started traveling a lot, I did get a job on the weekends. There are hours in the day where you could go and do something else. The key is, on your second job, is to save the income. Yes, I know we need rest. Yes, I know we need to take care of our health and our family. Again, I'm just telling you some money moves you can make. And something that I have personally done. I had jobs, a 9-to-5 job, and then I would work 6 to 9 on the weeknights, and I would work Saturday and Sunday. There was probably a 2 or 3 year period where I was working at least one job every day. I likely took my birthday off. I likely took Christmas off, but you get the point, right? Getting a second job is not a horrible idea. Just make sure you save all that income for your investments. Here's a big one, right? Simplify your life. Sell unnecessary things to raise capital. And, oh, by the way, lower expenses. I have a good friend of mine who loves sports cars. He is a fanatic and a tremendous driver. So something he did, I don't know what it was, 5, 10 years ago, is he went out and bought a tricked out Porsche because he could, right? He had the income, he paid cash, all that stuff. He tricked it out probably with another 20 grand worth of stuff. But he realized that he wanted to change his lifestyle. He wanted to lower expenses. He wanted to start buying rental property. So he sold that Porsche, which I'm sure he loved like nothing else. But he didn't need it. It wasn't his everyday driver. It sat in the garage most days. But again, you probably have something. It may not be a Porsche, but you may have another car, some I don't know, clothes, extra stuff that you've just accumulated throughout life. Simplify. Have a garage sale. Go to a swap meet or whatever they're called these days, and sell some stuff. Raise some capital that way, and also simplifies your life. Right? My buddy's selling his Porsche. He lowers his insurance. I'm positive because he's not paying it on this super souped up race car. So again, just these things you could do if you really want to get after this. One area you can really get good at is find people who don't want something and underappreciate its value. So in Gary Vee's world, this is his garage selling, right? He goes out to garage sales and buys a toy for $1 and sells it on eBay for 15. He talks about how he gets a jolt of energy from that. But what he's doing is he's just finding what I call a don't wanter. I don't want this, and I'd rather take $1 for it. And then he's going to go out, he's going to inventory it, take a pretty picture, or someone on his team, and he's going to go sell it. In my world, it's real estate, right? If you can find somebody who owns a piece of real estate, somebody inherited it, a frustrated landlord, an owner occupant who can't repair the roof, whatever, find don't wanters. And I promise you, there were people that will value that, whether it's a toy that somebody wants for $15 or somebody who wants a rental property or another house. If you can find and attract people who don't want something and you can become an expert at that, you will make a lot of money, whether it's garage selling like Gary Vee or with real estate as I talk about. Something you want to do is you want to build a track record in your area that is bankable. What I mean by that is many times in life, you're going to be doing something, sharing your story, becoming an expert. But at some point, the market's going to swing your direction and you're going to want to jump in feet first. So I call this leveraging private capital. So make sure you have good credit, you have reserves, all of that, but also document your knowledge. Become a bankable resource. This is one of the big reasons I have this YouTube channel, is I want to be known as a bankable investor. Should the market turn and I want to raise private capital, I want people to know who I am. I want them to go back and look at 1,000 videos and see products and work walkthroughs and just know who I am so they can get comfortable. And it won't be like when they talk to me the first time, it's like they know me a little. So understand that doing things like this and telling your story and documenting, even if it's Gary Vee, documenting his Transformer toys or Nerf guns or whatever it is, he's becoming bankable at that. So realize that private capital is wonderful and a great way to grow. When the market swings your direction, go all in. All in. So something we did when the market was crashing and we were taking advantage in 2010 and 11 is we took money anywhere we could get it. Private investors, took loans against our 401k. I got loans on our cars that were free and clear, right? I was turning over every rock so we could buy. The last thing I wanted to do was have it turn, which it eventually did when all the hedge funds and Blackstone came in and bought everything, and say, I wish I bought more. I can confidently say we bought everything we could, and I have no regrets. But in the end, this is going to happen again, and I'm going to go all in again. But whatever it is in your market, whether it's garage selling with toys or baseball cards or cars, right, fixing up old cars or motorcycles or whatever it is for you, just know at some point the market's going to swing your direction, and you got to be ready to go all in. Something I did do, and I just talked about it, and it's not right for everyone, so consult your financial planner. I borrowed against my 401k. They allowed me to take up to $50,000 out, assuming it was 50% or less of the account balance, and I took it. That for me was another house, and I just paid it back over the year. That's because that's the term I selected, and I borrowed again. I must have borrowed against my 401k 3 or 4 times. And of course, I always paid it back, because if you don't, then there's a fee or taxes and all of that. But if you can get a 401k loan and the market swings your direction and you want to go all in, something I did is I borrowed against my 401k. Again, not for everyone. Every plan is different. Research with your financial analyst. This is just something I did in our story, and it may not work for you. Here's a big one. Appreciate that wealth and freedom comes from time. Income can come quickly. It could come in a lump sum wholesale deal or flip or garage sale home run, right? Hey, you bought a painting for 10 that had this great frame and you sold it for 2,000. I don't know, whatever Gary Vee does. But that's just income. Income can come quickly. Wealth and freedom that I'm trying to talk about on this channel come with time. And I've said it many times and I'll say it many more. You need to think in decades, not even months or years. Hopefully that makes sense. So lastly, if you are in a relationship, right, you have a significant other, please talk about money and your goals. Because the last thing you could do is be the one that's saving and have all these goals and not realize that the other party has not changed their behavior. Or worse, sees extra money in the account and spends it. This can happen, and I have seen it. So if you're in a relationship, make sure you talk about money. Talk about your goals. Talk about needs versus wants. These are conversations we as Americans should have, and it doesn't seem like we are. So make sure you two are talking about both money, income, expenses, but also your goals. So in the end, if you're still watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, or as Graham says, smash that like button. And of course, share these videos with anyone you think should see this. Hopefully that made sense. I think these were all money moves that we all could do. I think they were obviously earlier in your career, the better, right? Because you have time. I talk about decades all the time. So hopefully that made sense. Leave me any questions. Tell me which one was your favorite in the comments below. I'd really like to see that. And of course, have a great day.